SAP hasn't really been known for having great user experiences to their products. Some of the folks here have talked about that. And one of their big things that they're trying to put out there today to make that situation better is Fiori, which is a collection of UI5 applications. Who here understands UI5 or knows about the concept of UI5? Who's heard of UI5? Who's heard of HTML5? Okay, so UI5 is essentially HTML5. It just has different CSS, different styles for it to make it more SAP-ish. In SAP fashion, you can't just release something out there that's completely, doesn't have at least a little something to do with SAP. I've actually done a lot of blogs about UI5 and about Fiori, so I talk about that, how they've actually made UI5 open source, so now you don't even have to be an SAP customer. You can download the UI5 toolkit and develop applications, design applications using UI5 and not even really have an SAP investment. It's a complete departure for SAP. Good news is they're making it their UI for all of their products. So when you talk about SAP and all of SAP's products, it's good to know about UI5 because pretty much everything that they're going to do from here on out is going to be based on that UI technology. Not just Fiori. They're actually recreating personas to be based on UI5. Success factors. Gentleman Paul in the back, I was just talking to him. He's a Success Factors company. That's completely now based on UI5. The HANA Cloud Platform. A lot of those apps are based upon UI5. So more and more and more as we go down the path here, you're going to see that. You're going to see less of the UIs that you see today. Of course, you always have your traditional GUIs in the back end that we all know and love, and come to know and love. Those will never go away. But when you talk about users using applications and doing things outside of SAP to get into SAP, especially when SAP builds their products, it's all going to be based on UI5. So it's not a passing fancy in the world of SAP. It's something to take very seriously and figure out, which is what we're going to talk about today, figure out how to get plugged into it if you haven't already, and what to anticipate here over the next year to 2 years, and how your organizations need to be prepared to deal with UI5. So we're going to use it in context of Fiori. At your jobs today, your workplace today, how many folks have heard of issues, or we're all in IT, have dealt with user experience related issues? Folks who have complained about something, folks who have called into the help desk, who've tried to blame us for, something's wrong with the portal, it doesn't work, this application's running too slow, how come it's so hard to use? Just by show of hands, who has dealt at some point in their career with user experience issues as it relates to applications? Maybe it doesn't even have to be related to SAP. So that's pretty much everybody. I mean, I always like to start off with that. But it's a huge issue in companies, and the whole reason why SAP is going down this UI5 journey is to rectify that. They were initially going to sell Fiori and sell UI5 as a licensable, sellable product that had a cost to it. And when they found out that this is what other companies like Google and Salesforce.com and all these other competitors out there are giving their customers for free, then they said, you know what? We need to do the same thing, and thus Fiori and UI5. And it is free, so if you have an SAP investment, you have licenses in SAP, you're already paying maintenance, this is something that you already own. It's part of your maintenance track. So the collection of 100 plus, 200 plus apps, they keep coming out with more and more and more. They're there for the taking. They're there to be implemented. You own them. It's just what I'm trying to do today is get you with an understanding of how to actually start to use it and to make use of it. So in context of what we're talking about today, when we talk about Fiori and we talk about UI5, a lot of people still think desktop, and they still think we go in through the web browser and that's what we do. But I've talked to a lot of people at TechEd, at Sapphire, all the clients that we work with, and people think of Fiori and they think of UI5 as really a mobile solution. And while that can be true, it's really a responsive design-based application. So anybody out here not familiar with responsive-based web applications, right? So everybody is, it's great. It works on your phone, very similar to how it would work on your desktop. In your jobs today, how many folks are dealing with mobile-based SAP applications in any respect? Who here is dealing with SAP from a mobility standpoint? Anyone in the room? Who here has heard whispers or rumors or projects that maybe have been put out there that maybe that's coming in the future? SAP mobile applications, right? So that's another one. So basically, if you go Fiori, you go UI5, that essentially becomes your inherent default mobility strategy. That's a very important piece because in today's UI world, mobile is huge. But where do you start? So that's the big thing. Where do we start? You kind of don't know where to start with Fiori. And so I'm going to give you one way to kind of kick off your whole Fiori journey, your whole UI5 journey. And what I'm going to show you here is a transaction that we've, in our lovely back-end SAP that you can run. Folks say, well, I need to approve purchase orders, or I need to do timesheets. And these are all applications that Fiori has. You can go, you can download them, you can connect to the cloud, you can start running them. But a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. So if what we found and how we work with customers, we run this specific transaction, ST03N. Has anyone ever run this transaction? I know there's some basis guys in the room. My man over here. ST03, which is the older version, ST03N, which is the newer version, is a way that a lot of us basis guys or the folks that are in administration use this tool to understand who's doing what in SAP. How long are they taking on transactions? Who's accessing what transaction? How many users are on this transaction? What's the time between handoffs? But what people don't know is it's also a great little tool. It's the needle in the haystack of how you inherently find out where the time suck is happening, where the issues are happening with your application.
Let me ask something real quick.
Yeah,
so just real quick, I want to ask, so of the people that are familiar with this, the basis people, are you sharing its capabilities with your business is probably the important question that we want to ask, because as Pete mentioned, we call this the needle in the haystack. So often you've got business units that are struggling with user experience, and there's a lot of issues around it, but it's more to say, how would we initiate, where we would start, and what would we measure so that we can go back to the stakeholders, the people that are the budget approvers holding the purse strings, to allocate funding to get something started. And we found that the amount of information that's provided in this transaction right here, you can literally take back to the business and help them start putting together a series of questions or surveys that they can go back with to start asking and quantifying, the different tasks associated with what they're doing with transactions, so that you can go back and turn that into quantifiable information to the business, to the stakeholders. They communicate in numbers, and a lot of the times we're finding through a lot of interviewing that we're doing with our clients is the issue is, where do we get started, and more how, because we tend to live in an environment where we're robbing Peter to pay Paul. So we've got budgets already approved, they've already been allocated for the projects, and now we've got some other issues that we want to address, but we can't address them because we don't have the funding for it, and we don't even really know how to go out and get the funding for it. So this is a big tool, I'd like to say, that we use, that we go back and we work with the basis, the IT folks, and that we can take this information and extrapolate and get information back to the business they can give back to the purse holders.
Right.
So
you can come in, you can see VA01. You'll have a lot of transactions in there. People have, that will never be a Fiori application. But you will find some things in there where you're like, oh my God, people are running this transaction, or they might even run a WebDim Pro app, which hits an SAP transaction. It'll pick that up here, and you'll start to see why is this taking so long? And then you can start bumping it up against maybe some help desk feedback that you're hearing where people are having some issues.